What would happen if you took a Mecha hilt from the Pach store and turned it into a speeder hilt? Coming up. All right, what's up, everybody? So I just wanted to do a quick video on the most recent speeder hilt, ridiculous speeder hilt that I did. People wanted to know what went into the build and all that, so I was just going to do a quick video on it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm always a fan of speeder hilts. I think speeder, Corran horn speeder hilts are probably my favorite. So I essentially bastardized a version of a Pach store Mecha into a speeder bike hilt, and yeah, we're going to talk about it. So I came across this hilt actually on a Facebook, marketplace. Somebody was getting rid of it, and I've always liked the look of the Mecha from Pach store. I like Gundams. I'm not a huge fan, but I've always liked giant robots, and I like the look of the Mecha. So I thought, why not? I picked it up. It was already stripped. So the Mecha comes from Pach in like a white. It's almost like a ceramic Cerakote white, I think. But this was already naked, essentially. It was already stripped. So I thought to myself, that could probably make a good speeder hilt. So that's exactly what I did, right? So let's talk about it. All right, so so here it is. Okay, so there are some touches of what used to be, right? So we've got this giant midsection that was from the Mecha. I did keep the two buttons. These do come from factory in red. They are not working buttons, which is a shame, honestly. I kind of would like to do a build one day where these are actually working buttons, but that day will maybe come. So starting from the bottom, the person that I purchased this from did already have this guard on the bottom, so I'm not quite sure where this came from. I made a custom resin button. Okay, I put this on my very first Corran horn speeder bike build. So this is an actual working red button. It's got a spring in it. It's springy. It's not wired up to anything, but it's essentially two pieces with a red button that's been printed in translucent red resin. So the two pieces of housing that enclose that button, I actually put a spring underneath it. So it is springy. It's just attached to the pommel. So this hilt originally had, I don't know, like another 2 inches attached to it. I chopped this off with a bandsaw or a hacksaw, sawzall, honestly. So I hacked that off and just attached a pommel section from Custom Saber Shop. I did want a shorter, stubbier looking grip. I feel like speeder hilts are, look better when they're short. So I whacked off about 2 inches of that, right? So around the grip, so what I ended up doing was I designed a grip in Fusion and printed it in ABS high strength resin and split it in half and then attached it to the grip. So you can still unscrew the grip, and when it's fully engaged, that grip lines up. Yeah? So it just kind of looks like a motorcycle grip or a bike grip. I don't know. I kind of like the way it turned out. The two buttons I removed from the hilt, removed the red anodized, and faux bronzed them, and then replaced them. Went through the whole hilt with a passive aluminum black as well. So let's talk about this control box. So this is a control box from the Custom Saber Shop that I attached to the emitter section with 2 set screws. So underneath this clamp card, this control box is screwed into the emitter section. On the inside of the control box, I mounted 2 steel dome tactile switches. And in order to do that, I did have to route out some material on the inside of the switch box in order for those to make their way to the surface and be flush, right? Around this side, I've just got like a greeblie. There's a steel bar here that I heat stained and drilled some holes and attached that to the control box. coming out of the control box, so there was no room on the inside to route wires, and I was okay with that. I did want to have some sort of outer wire work on this. However, this is actually functional. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conductors that are inside of this this corkscrew tubing. I could not find anything small enough for what I wanted. So there are some, you know, like control door security systems have this flex tubing, but there was nothing small enough for what I wanted. So what I ended up doing was I ordered some flat sterling silver like jewelry parts. It was like a flat belt that was like this long, and I wrapped it around a piece of brass to get that corkscrew action and just routed my wires through it. So the wires come out of the control box and go into this thick section. I made a penetration under this thick ring, and that's where I make a connection to the 6-rail PCB that's inside of this. This is another custom like knurled thumb screw that I made. I just popped a hole on the top of it and put a piece of brass in it just to make it look a little bit different. This clamp card is a beautiful clamp card from Slothfurnace. I love his clamps, so I did have to cut this to size a little bit to make it fit. Around the top of this, we've got 2 LEDs. One is a pulsing green LED and the other is an orange, and a custom blade plug. I did make a custom plug for this particular build, right? So that's it. So to get at the core or the chassis, it is a removable chassis. I printed this chassis in Beam Saber hot pink, okay, just to go in line with like the mecha theme or whatever. It is a removable core or removable chassis. I've got a 24mm speaker. Unfortunately, that was the only size that I could do with the diameter of this, the inner diameter. So I've got a 24mm speaker, Profi build. I do have some on. So I've got some onboard NeoPixels on the chassis itself. And that's the 6-rail PCB, right? Battery around back, we've got a kill switch as well. So core gets in there. Let's come around the bottom. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be known as the guy that just puts NeoPixels on everything pretty soon here. So to use the Saber, I usually pop my core into the pommel first. Screw it in all the way till it stops. And there's those. One of those is a pulsing green. Gotta use the Gundam font, right? So let's pop a blade in it really quick. I do like that this knurled thumb screw does act as a blade retention. So not the most comfortable hilt to hold, honestly, because of these guys here, these screws and the control box. It's just not very easy to spin. But man, was it a fun build, right? So anyway, let's see what else we got on here.
Just a simple one. And that team is ready for one.
So that's it. Just a nice quick walkthrough video on that ridiculous, ridiculously cannibalized version of a Pach Mecha that is now a speeder bike hilt. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you. If you have any questions or comments, please don't be a stranger, and may the force be with you always.